Okay, so we have the pleasure of hearing from Miss Branna tonight, the night after the great Canby explosion, right? Maybe we can talk a little bit about that, how everyone did. But you guys know Branna, she's our brand new clinical social worker. And we also have the treat of having Catherine Watts here, who's our brand new dietitian. So you'll be seeing her as you go through your follow-up appointments and whatnot, okay? So, everybody doing good? Are we gonna do like a little introduction?
Yeah.
You wanna do that? And everybody's good? You're all sugared out? No sugar? Anybody have a little tiny Three Musketeer pot? Oh, come on. Okay. Yeah, so why don't we go ahead and we can just start and go ahead and do our introductions, and then Branna can take us over.
Did everybody sign in? I hope so.
I think they did.
I'll start by introducing myself, and then I'll kind of go around like Jenny said. My name is Branna. For those of y'all who have not met me, I'm the clinical social worker here. I do primarily the psychiatric evaluations when patients are trying to get cleared for weight loss surgery, but I also do one-on-one therapy and counseling here as well. So I see patients who are maybe prior to surgery, if they have some anxiety leading up to surgery, or afterwards. Sometimes a major surgery can increase symptoms of anxiety, depression, isolation, and so I try and help patients walk through that process of improving and learning new coping skills to deal with those things as they come up. So if any of y'all are struggling, my door is always open. Please just call me, and we can schedule a one-on-one session. I always like to say that. And it's hard to reach out for help, but once you do, you realize, okay, I'm not in this by myself. But anyway, it's nice to meet you guys.
My name is Darlene.
Hey, Darlene.
What else am I? This is my first time here, because I don't know.
Okay. What we usually do is just say what your name is, if you've had surgery, if not, when is your surgery, and that's pretty much it. And a little brief
So my name is Darlene. Like I said, I had surgery September the 13th, and it's been going good.
Very good.
I'm Stacy. I had gastric sleeve done, and I'm 6 months out today.
Good. Wonderful. Glad you're here.
My name is Orika, and that's my twin. We had the same day. 6 months out, and I've lost 78 pounds.
Awesome. Good girl.
I'm Jason, non-alcoholic. Here to support the wife, and I think she's getting ready to have the surgery.
Yeah, so my name's Melissa. I do not have a date yet because we were going for the sleeve. Then he decided, okay, we may need to do the gastric, so we're going back through the insurance. So I'm here to listen today.
Okay. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
I'm Willette. I had my surgery July 21st.
I'm Bobby. I got sleeve June of last year, down about 115 pounds, give or take.
No.
Great.
Hoping to lose more weight. I was a little naughty when I went to the fair and tricked her with Halloween, and I see on the scale, but it's coming back down a little bit. So this was
Good. Glad you're here.
I'm Lauren. I had the sleeve in January, and I lost 80 pounds, and I'm just kind of stalled here the last 6-7 weeks. So hoping to get things going again.
Good.
I'm Lucy. I had my surgery of gastric sleeve 6 months ago. I'm down, 63 pounds. Feeling good.
Good.
Never struggled yet, so I'm looking up. This is my niece, Kiana.
I'm Hazel. I had the gastric sleeve on December 26, 2019. almost 3 years out. I've had some issues with the stomach, and hopefully it will get better. And I've lost almost 100 pounds.
Wonderful.
My name's Carol, and I had the gastric bypass a year ago on the 3rd, so almost a year ago. And I've lost a little over 80 pounds. I was looking to lose a little bit more, but I'm happy where I'm at right now.
Good. Good.
My name is Lindsay, and I had the bypass surgery April 26th of this year. And I'm down about 90 pounds, so I just did 6 months.
My name is April, and I had my surgery in March, and I can run a mile without stopping. I'm so happy.
That's awesome.
Hi, I'm Tom. I had the sleeve in April this year, and I lost 133 pounds.
I'm Tony. I had my surgery October 4th, and I'm down about 35 pounds, I think. So, things are going super well, much better than I expected, but it's going very, very well.
Good. Glad to hear.
Hello, I'm Don. This is my first time here. Sleeve surgery next Tuesday.
Wow. Awesome. Glad you're here.
My name is Russ. This is my anniversary month, a year ago in the sleeve. Down about 130 and teaching me skull. But happy where we're at and looking to lose a little bit more.
Very good. Hi, I'm Scotty, and it's been a year for me. And my big cheer, the thing I'd like to share this week is that I'm completely off of blood pressure medicine. So, that was one of my goals, and I have met that one now. So
that's amazing.
My name is Beth, and I had a gastric sleeve procedure about 4 years ago in August.
I'm MJ. I had gastric bypass in March. I'm down about 70 pounds. And I started training for a marathon and had a little setback, so I'm kind of stalled and stuck right now, but still moving on. And I was going for the sleeve, changed to the bypass, and don't regret it at all.
Wonderful, okay. Good.
Jason, I had mine in May. I'm down about 70 pounds.
My name's Dina. I had the sleeve in August done, and I'm down about 35 pounds.
That's great. My name is Catherine. I'm the newest dietitian here. I've been here about 2 weeks, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
Yeah. Glad you're here, Catherine.
You guys know me, Jenny. And I look forward to insights Brandon has to share.
Yeah. Well, tell me, you guys, how Halloween was. What were your struggles? What were some accomplishments? Any victories or non-victories?
I wanted to, but I didn't.
How did you do it?
For one thing, I didn't buy it.
That's good. That's good.
But I had made up my mind. I just wasn't going to do it. So.
And when you don't buy it, you're not tempted. If it's not in your house, it's not in your reach. Did anybody else struggle with Halloween? No?
I was doing good until at work yesterday, leadership brought by Jack little pumpkins with candy, caramel apples, and popcorn in them. You missed that. So, yeah, and it was sitting on my desk all day. So that was tempting.
That is very tempting.
I mean, I was strong enough not to go to the store and buy a bunch of candy, but I went somewhere there was some candy. I did have some. I'm not gonna lie, I caved in that much. Something that I do to keep from doing is, I don't know if y'all approve this, but I buy Russell Stover sugar-free candy, and I just keep that in my fridge all the time. So when I have that sweet tooth, that sugar, that desire, that it satisfies by keeping it, because they make something that tastes very close to Snickers bar and peanut M&Ms and a chocolate coconut thing. and I just keep that all the time. So when I have that sweet tooth craving, I have that. I don't know if y'all approve of it, but that's just something I found.
And they have sugar-free Jolly Ranchers. What do you think we're gonna say?
I'm like him, but I don't do the chocolates, I just do the sugar-free hard candy.
Yeah, Jolly Ranchers.
You know, the goal is really to kind of lose that sweet craving, that constant sweet craving. And even when you give yourself things that have what they call sugar alcohol, it still prompts that craving. So if there's, you know, there's no way you're not going to eat something sweet, that would be an okay alternative. But the goal is really kind of to decrease really having something like that around. The other thing to caution you in is sugar alcohol is a non-digestible product. And if you eat too much of it, it will give you diarrhea.
What is sugar alcohol? I don't know what
Things like mannitol, xylitol, that is probably in a lot of what they consider sugar-free.
It's stevia, one of those things? Or?
Not stevia, it has an OL on the end.
Yeah, like, I think sorbitol is one of the.
Sorbitol, anything with an OL.
And it will say on the package, sugar alcohols on the back of the content, but
Learned something new. I had no idea. So, very good. Well, I wanted to open up by just asking you guys about that. One thing that's been on my mind here recently that impacts me is daylight savings. And when it gets darker earlier, 99% of my patients say the dark time the cravings kick in. So when they're kicking in earlier and we're staying up or experiencing the dark more in the afternoon, we start to have more challenges and more anxiety naturally that we may not even notice. Any of you guys, what do you guys do to keep yourself busy with the daylight savings time? What do you fear? Anything like that?
This will be my first time.
It's like we're like bears here. We're trying to hibernate before, feed up before hibernation, and that's what I feel like. People are, it's getting darker, you're staying in more, getting more depressing, can't go out as much. So you're just sitting in your house. So that's when all your thoughts are like, okay, what do I do? I try to do like things like exercise, read our books. I'm really big on reading. I've gotten where I'm back into knitting again. But the family, my niece said there goes to me like, not her, like her mother goes like, where'd you learn how to knit? I'm like, crochet. I was like, my grandmother taught me years ago. I just took it back up again.
Yeah.
I sit there, I just crochet her a big old wrap blanket.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful.
I know it's only been a few weeks, and you know I haven't had any issues with cravings per se, but there have been times when I came in and I spoke with and she helped me out tremendously. Lord knows she helped me out tremendously. But there have been times whenever I guess the muscle memory comes in and you just want to chew something and you want to eat. Mm-hmm. So speaking of nighttime, what I've been doing, that helps me out a lot when I feel like that, I'll just go walk. You know, put on the sneakers, I'll go walk. I'll come in, take a shower, I'll just go to bed.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, it's morning time, my day has started all over again. I'll get up, take me a walk, not a big long walk, but maybe, around through my cul-de-sac to the stop sign and back enough for my dog to take it, do his business and come back in. And then I'm in my day, drink my protein shake and go about my day. And in the evening time, which was a major, major issue for me before the surgery, now what I do to just kind of not even think about it, and when I feel that kind of, I just want to shoot something or eat, I just go to bed. You know what I mean? And I go to bed. And that is what's helped me up to this point.
Yeah, that's good.
That's only been a month, but that's been extremely beneficial for me.
And that's probably the hardest thing, breaking old habits.
Yeah.
And Brandon might be able to talk more specifically about this, but like kind of science says if you can put off a craving for about 20 minutes or so, usually that feeling will go away, and so, we always teach folks to get busy, go outside, change your location, open a book, I used to tell people to keep a little box available. and maybe have like, you know, a fingernail file or, you know, back in the day, pictures to organize or a little journal, something to go to physically to be able to just do some activities, you know, and then usually that craving will go away if you're not hungry. If you're hungry, that's another thing, and you need to have a good, you know, a good healthy snack. But if you're not, and it's just habit, you know, sometimes it's just doing something else.
I think that is one of the risks you're talking about, being home longer or darkness,
Yes.
feeling more in the house time.
Yes.
And last year was early on in the system, I didn't really notice it, but I do see the risk. Because if you don't have something to do, whether you're, and I've, for the most part, substituted, if I'm feeling munchy, water is really it'll pass, like you said. But the longer darkness hours, the longer you're in the house after work and not spending the time outside doing other things, that's gonna be you're gonna have to be intentional about what your snacks are and what your meals are. And are you spending more time in front of TV? Where's your snacks located? You know, think about those things. I think is what I'm processing out of some of the things I'm hearing.
And I love that word, intentional. So me and Jenny were talking about this the other day about how we have to be intentional with physical exercise when it gets dark earlier. It's easy to make that excuse, well, I don't feel safe walking around my block. Well, there's $10 gym memberships that we can go and walk in the gym after it gets dark, you know. So being intentional is key for when it starts to get dark earlier. In our eating, in our physical exercise, everything. Absolutely, I like that word.
I don't have anything to add to that, but I still struggle with having late night cravings. I was on night shift at my job. I'm now on day shift. I now have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so I can't stay up too late. So I can't exercise that late, but I do. I actually just left the gym.
Good.
When I want to go to the gym 3 to 6 times a week, and when I go to the gym 2 to 4 times a week. I try to hit every muscle, you know.
Yeah.
You know how guys, they want to just get the biceps pumped or the bench press, but I try to hit every single muscle.
Good. Very good. And you said you struggle with late night cravings?
Yes. I mean, I want popcorn or a piece of chocolate or sometimes even a burger. Or, but I still struggle with that.
What do you do instead?
I cave in.
It's your sugar-free chocolate.
No, I mean, that's what I get. But I usually cave in and get my sugar-free candy that I keep in the refrigerator.
Yeah, absolutely. That's better than the burger.
Yeah.
Still.
I mean, I know this isn't a good thing, but I keep some snacks in the trunk of my car all the time. Okay. And I know it's not good food, but what it does for me, it stops me from going to McDonald's and getting apple pie, or Dunkin' Donuts and getting the donuts, or Krispy Kreme when they have the hot sign on. Or my restaurant have key lime pie or chocolate cake. I mean, I know that like I'm still eating junk food, but that's still not as bad as what I was going to get.
Absolutely.
Like those Lance crackers, you know, the peanut butter ones with the lemon flavored thing. I get those. I mean, I know it's still junk, but it's not.
Peanut butter crackers all in it. I'm with you. I keep them in my glove box, the
Yeah.
back seat, because I'm like, when I get hungry, I can have that on
Yeah.
my pretzels instead of stopping for a candy bar or ding dongs or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it stops me from doing that. So I mean, yeah, this is still 200 calories, but apple pie is probably 500 calories or whatever.
And probably 50 grams of sugar.
Oh yeah. So there's that. There's that improvement.
I mean, not to make, but I have that too. I keep it all in the car.
I found that kind of like asking myself, like, is this going to help me reach my goal? Like anytime I want, or like think about having the Sour Patch Kids that are sitting in that cauldron over there that I pass by at work every single day. I'm like, well, that's not going to help me reach it. But they were on my mind for 2 weeks. So I went to Target and I bought those Lily's little orange rings and had 3 of them. Put it up. because I know that's what I wanted, and I don't think it's about deprivation, but I think it's more about setting boundaries for yourself and making healthy habits and better choices. So that's what I've tried to like, not deprive myself, but make sure I'm making better choices. It's like an
Absolutely.
intentional thought of everything that I'm trying to put in my body.
And that's huge. Any goal that we want to succeed, we have to internally talk to ourselves. It all starts with our thoughts, and I say that probably 500 times a day, but it really is, because if we want that piece of candy, we have to internally learn how to talk to ourselves. Brianna, do you really want this? Or what is your goal? Or, you know, if I'm having anxiety, what is truly going on here? What is the underlying issue going on? So you can work through your thoughts before you take action, and that becomes a behavior. Does anybody else self-talk to themselves?
I do.
Okay.
One small thing I do is every time I think about food, I'll stop and drink a bowl of water. And if I'm still hungry after that, then I'm genuinely hungry. But if I drink a bowl of water, I'm satiated. Well, I wasn't really hungry. That's one thing I do.
Well, also protein keeps you fuller longer. So you could get individual packets of those unsalted or roasted almonds. And those are protein. And the protein will keep you fuller longer. So when you do get like a hunger pang, eat a few almonds. And I've learned that. And so I keep some of those in my desk. The things that have the protein.
Yeah, with nuts and everything else. What I do is, now it's around Christmas time, I love nuts, but I don't buy the big container of nuts. What I do is I buy the nuts I have to crack open. I have to spend the time to crack one open, take the one. I eat less that way, but I still get that little.
That's why the individual packs, I like those because they're
The 100 calorie packs,
servings.
that's what I get.
Yeah, they're the servings instead of just keep, because you'll find yourself going in. I understand that too about cracking them.
Yes.
Who y'all ever here said that y'all talk to yourselves internally? Can you share?
Go ahead. I think we all probably will, because we know that we have to say to ourselves, do we really need that? Do we really want it? Is it going to help us reach our goal, like you said? So I think we all kind of do that. I think everybody will at some point if they don't already.
And I do every day. The other side to that is if you do, if you do eat something that you don't talk negative to yourself about eating something like a piece of candy. That's what I've had to learn to do, is not to dwell on that. Once it's done, and the next choice, the next meal, the next feeling, or whatever it is, I can make a better choice at that. But I'm very, very hard on myself. And when something like that happens, it could go into a spiral downhill very quickly. For me, like, saying, okay, I've messed up the whole day, I'm just gonna eat. So I've had to learn to do that when I do eat something that I regret later.
When I crave for something sweet, I suck on a lemon wedge, and that takes my edge off for something sweet.
I've never heard that. Okay.
And it helps.
I don't know if I could do that with a straight face.
That's because I like lemons. And
Well, I do too, but I've never been able to do that. Wow.
Hook her up.
So here I want to talk about, I have 3 kids, teenagers, and they came home yesterday with a bag full of candy. So I have candy in my house all the time. And it's, I have talked to myself quite a bit. And it's funny, I walk right by it and I know it doesn't faze me to want it. And so, but when I do want something something tart or something sweet, I normally about 8 o'clock, 8:30, I grab sugar-free ice cream, but not ice cream, but kind of water, what it's called, pops.
Oh, sugar-free popsicles?
Yeah, I buy 3 boxes at a time. But they're hard to find. They are hard to find.
They are.
Also, we're talking about daylight savings time. I've been a word worker for probably about 15 years. So I keep myself very busy with that. And but I just got back from Florida doing it, and that was the biggest struggle because I took some food with me, but the church we were at, they feed us. They fed like they normally do. So it was hard, but you know, I did eat what they had, but I still lost weight. You know, I mean, so don't beat yourself up, but just know that you just gotta continue to stay focused to your goals, to your dreams.
Absolutely. I applaud you for being able to walk past that candy so many times a day with your children. Yes.
It is hard. I have 4 little ones at home. My oldest is 10 and my youngest is almost 5 months.
Wow.
And it is very hard. I mean, because kids, that's just kind of, but like even last night with trick or treating, just being so active. I mean, I think we walked 2 miles and I had the 5-month-old strapped to me, and I did tell my husband I could have never done this last year. You know, walked and not just hurt and so I did. I had a little mini crunch bar last night, and I don't know. I've kind of adapted this personality of, or this mindset of, just if I've had a really bad day, or I did, you know, tomorrow's a new day. We went on a cruise a few weeks ago and lived life. I lived the cruise life and came right back and was just so intentional about charting all my food again and like, okay, we're getting back on track. And I don't know, just like you were saying, being hard on yourself. I think I've done that for so long, and now it's like, whoa, you've gone through all this. We're not going to chase that negative. You know, you know what to do. Bring it on back. You know, and just kind of allowing yourself that grace.
Yeah.
You know that comes with it.
I'd like to reinforce that tomorrow's a new day, because that keeps me from beating myself up. Like you said, it's, you know, when you make a bad decision, and the lady was here last time talked about the little mini packs of popcorn, individual. Those have been a great quench for evening time. I mean, it's only like 3 handfuls and it's gone, but it's still it's a taste that your mouth can feel. But candy last night, we won't talk about that a whole lot.
It's so funny.
I'm not a big chocolate, but I like the Swedish fish, Twizzlers. So we have
Street sugar.
Yeah.
He's a good
You know, and I know I paid the price and the headache.
Yeah.
You know, an hour later, but you know, today's a new day, and that's I can't dwell on it. I didn't gain 130 pounds back.
So I was going to say, I don't think most of us got, you know, if we were able to kind of, okay, here's the line of, you know, new day, we probably wouldn't have gotten where we got.
Sure.
You know, I think a lot of us follow that very unhealthy pattern of beating ourselves up, feeling like, oh no, I screwed up. There's no coming back from this, you know, and I think, I remember talking to Emily about that a few months ago, because I had just like 3 or 4 awful days of like just stress, stuff going on, and really feeling like, oh no, what am I doing, you know, and I don't know, maybe that's this new physiological reset they talk about, you know, where now we've done something in our minds where we can give ourselves grace to start anew.
My wife will tell me, you know, what would you have done a year ago?
Right.
Yeah. How much would you have had a year ago? And you only had 1 or 2 little, you know,
It's being grass and still be eating.
Last year we've been going through the kids' candy, picking out the good stuff. You know, it's huge. But you know, so, you know, like, you know, my wife will tell me, tomorrow's a new day. And it helps.
I tell people, have a bad meal or have a bad snack. Right. You know, don't let that bad snack go into the next meal, go into the next snack. You know, man, I ate those 3 Musketeer bars, you know, but they were good. They were good, and I like that chocolate. But you know what, tomorrow morning I'm going to have a really healthy protein breakfast, you know, and just don't let the snowball thing, and then the guilt that's what, gets people down, and then they tend to overeat,
You know what, they weren't that good.
Well, they weren't, okay, well, that's honest, that's very
The
honest.
taste changed.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did, because I did go through the Halloween bucket and picked out one of the little Heath things that's one of my favorites, and I had one, and I was like, this doesn't taste as good as it did.
That's good.
And so, it's like, well, what's the point? And I have noticed that as well. Some things that were just really good and not good for me don't
Yeah.
taste as good now.
Yeah, I've noticed that too about some foods. Yeah, I've also noticed that I found I like other foods I didn't like before.
Folks taste.
All of a sudden I got a new taste. Like I find myself eating more broccoli, cauliflower, vegetables. I love carrots and stuff. They say I get too many vegetables. And I sneak in stuff like that stuff, and my family is like, my kid can't give me broccoli, cauliflower, but I'll eat it.
I think what you shared about grace is huge. We have to learn how to give ourselves grace. With the level that we're functioning right now, we're the most stressed we've ever been in society. We are constantly stressed looking and comparing ourselves on social media. We're constantly stressed at work. All of these work hours, we're working more than we ever have. The cost of living is the highest. It's, so the amount of stress that we have impacts us on a daily basis, so we have to give ourselves grace. And if you want the 2 pieces of Swedish fish, just, and then move on, like you said, move forward.
And also having someone there as a support, even if it's a friend or a coworker. Like Melissa and I work together. We work at the same company. She's just starting her process, and I said, shoot me an IM anytime. Mm-hmm. And I've got several people in my department and around that have also gone through the same thing. Right. They were a big support and an encourager before and right after, and are still now when I feel like I may have done something that I'm guilty about. They're great about it, and get back on the bandwagon, and they're my biggest cheerleaders. So if you can just find a support that are cheerleaders, that'll help too. So there's a lot of us at work.
Did y'all know y'all worked with each other?
We
before
have.
y'all?
And
Okay.
we work at the same company. Yeah. So yeah. And so we walked in, we're like, yeah. And so I immediately told her, shoot me an IM anytime with questions or whatever. So
that helps. It really does.
Yeah.
Because there's so many questions on this journey, and I think most of y'all like coming here because you learn new ideas
it helps
and strategies.
for this as well, because you get different perspectives and different stories and ideas too, and how to handle life, this new normal.
Yeah, I know one of the things that has been been a small adjustment. Now I have a very small circle, but it's a very supportive and loving circle. My family, church family, and so on and so forth. We went to the mountains this weekend. It was me and my wife and 2 other couples, dear friends of ours. And, I remember from the last meeting and, things I researched is that, it's real hard for people that haven't gone through the process to really understand. They want to be supported, but I don't think they understand how to be supported sometimes. And, which led back to something Brandon told me last month. Just, got a plan and, and be prepared. And I remember over the weekend, we had to change all of our plans that we had planned, the dinner going out and whatnot. And even with the things we fixed, I cooked so that we make sure I had stuff that, I wanted. But even with folks, everybody understand, even my wife, and she still got used to it. She's like, is that all you're going to eat? And I'm like, yeah, this is it, and, I know that they're trying to be helpful and supportive, and I don't want to say it gets aggravating.
It
at all.
It
But,
does.
you know,
Yeah.
it does. And so yes, it is very important, especially folks that are about to go through the process, to have something. And I don't mind saying, I had to come and talk to Brian. I hope you don't mind me telling
Okay.
it. And she was very helpful to me because I had a lot of anxiety and fear about just that, and even my relationship with food and how it's going to change and so on and so forth. But with preparation, I found that it is easy to mitigate. And the other thing, I'm gonna shut up, is that this process has forced me to be very methodical with planning. And in the process of planning my meals every day, it forced me to plan every aspect of my day. And what I realized is that, as extremely busy as I've been for the last 32 years in my profession, I'm like, I don't know if I was busy as much as I was chaotic. And in my life of chaos, I never thought about the things I was putting into my body or the lack of exercise, because I was just going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing to the next thing. And what this has done, it has taught me to rearrange. Like, I am so sleepy right now because I'm going home, I'm getting into bed, I'm going to sleep about 9 or 10 hours tonight. I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to go to work, do my thing, I'm coming back home, go to Bible study, and I'm going back to bed. And my days are so much more peaceful. And I don't think about the things I used to think about, and even the stress I used to have. So this has been a whole lot more of an enlightenment for me than just the food part of it. The food is a byproduct of I feel, the chaos that I created in my life. So
it's like a reset.
Yeah, man. It's been a reset. Cool.
And sometimes we don't realize how chaotic those most challenging parts of our lives are until we're out of it, right? Like even with a bad divorce or a bad relationship, sometimes until we're out of it, we don't even recognize it, but that gives us motivation to not repeat it again, right?
I think too, kind of building on that and what we're all talking about, just, in here, I'm sure that a majority of us are like professional dieters, right? Like we did everything before. We didn't just like run in here and say, I want gastric bypass. And so it's very difficult, I think, to get, once you're through the initial, you have your surgery, you're through the initial weeks, it's very easy to fall back into that thinking about food all the time, because that's, like, you literally are a professional dieter. You know how to live on a diet, you know how to live as an overweight person, you don't know how to do the in-between. And I do think there's value, obviously, and you do have to plan for things and that sort of thing, but I feel like 4 years in, I have so much free time during the day in my mind that I'm not thinking about food anymore. But that was really hard. Like, it didn't happen just like that. And it certainly didn't happen, I was almost a year in when COVID started. And that, and that was hard. It was hard to not focus on where, you're going to get toilet paper and whatnot. But now I don't. If I am thinking about food and it's not near a mealtime, I have 2 kids, I have a husband, I've got 4 dogs. There's a ton of other things that I can be focused on and that I can think about. And I do feel like it's added value to my life to just be able to set that thinking about food aside and go, that's taken care of. I have a meal planned for later today. I need to figure out how to get the 17 things done that, that I really I've always wanted to focus on. It takes training. You've got to retrain your mind when you're an atypical eater, to
instead
think
of living to eat, we have to eat to live.
Right, and it's not an overnight process. I'm not saying that I have it down even a couple years in, but I do feel like I'm very grateful, that I have that extra time to focus on things that are important to me, because I'm not focusing on not eating, So, but it does. It takes some work, right? Which means that you think about it more at first, but again, you know, and the other thing, it's funny to hear people talking about eating at night, because that's the problem that we all have, isn't it? I mean, it's the after dinner eating that's the problem, right? And I think that a lot of that can be alleviated by doing other things, right? Other than watching TV and stuff of that nature. Like, you know, I'm trying to think about what my parents did in the evenings, you know, and I'm not necessarily saying I want to come home from working a job all day and then, you know, take care of kids and clean the house and do all that stuff. But I do find that if I am a little bit more active in the evening, things are getting done that I don't necessarily want to do. And I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but as the gentleman was saying, then when I get tired, I go to bed. You know, and it's not so much sitting there for 2.5, 3 hours watching television and feeling like I'm hungry. Maybe I am hungry because I haven't eaten in 4 hours, but I don't need to eat before I go to bed.
And the guilt of going to bed early. If you're tired, go to bed. Like go to bed. Don't have guilt of, oh, I need to make it till 11 o'clock because my husband is. Or you know, if you are tired, take that time to rest because that's what your body needs, and it keeps you out.
Yeah,
getting into trouble somewhere else.
And no one else is up, then you actually have time to yourself, which is what we all think about all day long, other than food, right? If I had time to myself, I could blah blah blah.
Absolutely.
If you're going to bed at 8 o'clock and you're getting up at 5, I don't know about your house, but nobody at my house is getting up at 5. So that's, you know, time to myself.
Your dogs are.
Well, thank y'all for sharing those two things. That was very helpful. Is anybody else having struggles with dealing with the stress or chaos in their lives right now?
Well, this weekend it's kind of our church is having an anniversary, and you know we have to cook something and bring. So I'm thinking like, well, what am I gonna cook, you know, and take? And I found that speckled butter beans is my thing. I love it. I'm gonna cook a big old pot of speckled butter beans, and with okra and stuff added to it. But when we have these type functions, then I usually just give, you know, what I know that what I can have. The sweets don't even bother me no more. I don't have to have them. I don't even have them in my house, so I don't have an issue with that. But when you go to a function like that, it's like cakes here, pies there, and all kinds of, you know, stuff that you like to drink. I usually take my bottle of water with me to drink. I know I can't drink it until my 30 minutes is up from eating my food, so it doesn't even faze me to eat some of the stuff that we have at these functions. I just, like I said, I just fix what I know I can have, and I don't even eat that much of it. I end up taking my plate home, and it lasts me a couple of days. So I'm still learning things, and coming here helps a lot.
Absolutely.
I know this is not what we was talking about, but I struggle with the eating and the drinking. That's what I struggle with, real bad. Yes, I struggle with that really bad.
Yeah. Yes.
Is it a good way of doing it or whatever?
Like separating it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I like 30 minutes to eat. I'm not used to.
Were you always a big drinker with your meals?
Me too.
It's a habit, you know, it's just a habit you gotta break. Like, you know, when you eat your meal, don't even have your beverage around.
Don't bring it. Yeah.
Don't bring it with you. You know, eat your meal, then you know, okay, 30 more minutes, I can get my bottle of water. Or when you're drinking, don't have the food around at that time. Because, you know, your little pouch will just fill up and then you'll feel really uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or the other thing that can happen if you're a really, really good chewer is you'll just flush it right through and you'll be hungry in a half hour, you know? So, yeah, just don't, I agree, don't even have it near you.
I just leave, well, I mean, I'm in the classroom, but I just leave mine at my desk. I mean, I always have this full, but I don't even bring it to lunch.
That's good. Totally separate. Okay.
It's simple with me. I work, And my lunch breaks, I have a 9:30 lunch break and then a 12:30 lunch break. And I just look at the time. Okay, if my lunch was at 9:30, I drink a bottle of water around 8:45, 9 o'clock. And then I eat my food during my first lunch break. My second lunch break is sort of 12:30. So sometime before 12 o'clock, I drink another bottle of water. And I have that completely separated out. And I mean, that's just what I do. I drink very little while I'm eating. I'm not gonna lie to you, when I'm sitting at dinner, I might sip a little water while I'm eating, but I don't drink a whole glass of water. I might sit up and watch the food now.
See, but I get to work at 5. My lunch break's at 9:30, and I don't eat any more until I get home at 3:30. Because I work here at the hospital, and that's how it is. So it's really hard for me. Really, really hard.
It's habits, breaking habits, you know. Sometimes people are really fast eaters as well, and that's such a hard habit to break. Yeah, it's challenging.
One thing that I have found, if you're a fast eater, get some like baby utensils that are smaller in size. That don't hold as much, and that way, if you are a fast eater, you will find that it will slow you down because the spoons are smaller, the forks are smaller, so that helps too.
And someone had mentioned before putting your fork down between each bite. Simple tasks like that. But going back to what you said, it is because that was a habit for so long, I think you're going to miss it for a really long time, and that's okay too. You know, and you're going to want it. And I know that's exactly what Emily would say if she was here. I can hear sometimes you're going to want it, but keep pushing it because it's a habit that you've had your entire life of drinking and eating. So you're going to miss it, and you're going to have a little bit of anxiety because you want it. But just know you're doing your best and focus on that one meal and the present time being the here and now. I'm not going to do it. Like they said, keep it completely separate and just work through it each day. But it's going to be your one thing that you may just have to be like, I struggle with this. Talk to yourself. Okay, you can do it, you know. But you're going to want it for a long time because it was such a habit for so long, for sure.
Is anybody feeling anxiety about when are you going to exercise? When you go home and it's pitch dark? Or you wake up and it's pitch dark? Maybe if you exercise first thing, you go for a walk first thing in the morning? Or
I am loving YouTube right now for
Awesome.
all things exercise.
Awesome.
Can't go to the gym. My little baby girl has some medical things, so we're home a lot. But YouTube, I just female strength training, and I keep my little dumbbells right below her swing in the living room, and I don't feel bad because I feel like I'm still in there with her and interacting with her. But I was encouraging my mom the other day to really, you know, because she feels stuck. She's a walker. We both have seasonal, I hate to use the word depression because I don't struggle with that, but it is a seasonal when it, you know, it gets
It's the blues, it gets
down.
Yeah. I don't like the heat, but I don't like the cold and the dark.
Well,
So
we were
it's
talking
like-
about that. She's like, oh, I'm not going to be able, because I walk all the time at night, children's sports things at night. But, you know, it's different when it's dark at 5:30, and I don't necessarily feel as safe at some of these places, but YouTube has been amazing. You know, 20-minute, 30-minute little snippets, and there's stuff for like everything. Walking in place cardio, stretching, Zumba, the weightlifting. So that's kind of been, and the kids have been doing all of the things. It's hilarious. My 4-year-old daughter will do her squat presses, and I'm like, it's so cute. It has been really cute. But, you know, I mean, a way where you don't feel like, okay, I've got to get in the car and drive to the gym. Because that was, in me, just another thing to add to the day. Like, oh, how am I going to make time to get over there, and then do that, and then time to drive back? And it's like, most of us have TVs or phones, you know, and that's just an easy, free resource to use.
Little kids, you can't, I mean, you can't do all that other stuff. Like, my kids are teenagers now, so going to the gym for me is like something fun to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when I had little kids, I was like, no.
No way.
Well, you feel the guilt of leaving them when they're
Yeah.
little.
You
They get mom guilt. Oh,
I'm not supposed to be doing anything major yet, but I did buy me some, I think they were $12, a $12 pack of bands.
Oh,
So
great.
outside of,
Good, good.
walking, I felt like I wanted to do something, you know what I mean? But I got those bands and I can sit in my recliner and put one on my foot and just kind of do this, or whatever. And that's been, that's been beneficial for me.
Good, great.
To feel like I was doing something, because I was like, I don't feel like I'm wasting away because I'm only eating.
And you're walking, you can do as much walking as you want,
Yeah.
until they lift that lifting restriction. Yeah.
Just like
Does anybody else have any other, I'm like trying to dig through you guys. Any other struggles with seasonal blues or depression?
Yeah.
Although you don't call it depression, it is. When we think of depression, we think the severe depression. We're not coming out of the house, but depression is very, very common. A lot of us don't even know that we're depressed. And then there's spells of depression. People think it's a chronic diagnosis. It's not. Just like postpartum depression, it's often temporary, but there are different phases of life where we can experience depression, and then it goes through. So when you say blues, it may be a little spell of depression, but you know how to get through it.
Use that term for people that are struggling so hard,
Yes.
And I know, mine are small, compared to
Yeah.
that, but it seems to come every winter. I'm an outside person.
Me too.
And oh my goodness, it's like, and I'm like, did January just last 210 days? Because it seems to drag on forever, But and that's why when I saw the topic, I was like, oh, I'm really curious what everybody's thoughts are, because it's a hard time, all the food during the holidays with all the foods and the get-togethers, and it just kind of. And this will be my first season going, through all this with the changes, and just kind of want to make sure I have my toolkit ready for how am I going to fight this, when it comes.
Absolutely. Bobby, I think you were going to say something.
Well, I can't answer the question. I mean, is it typical to go through depression after weight loss surgery?
So it varies for everyone.
Yes.
Some we see because you're losing weight and your self-esteem is going up, depression is decreasing. But sometimes there are underlying issues that patients have never dealt with before, and cope with it with food, and they come out after you lose all of this weight. So it can go one way or the other. So each person is different. So I know that's a really hard thing to answer, but it kind of makes sense in your mind when you think about it. Some patients are lucky enough to never have any issues with depression, but we do see it sometimes after weight loss surgery, and it's usually underlying issues that just go hand in hand with weight issues as well.
Because you've dealt with those issues by overeating, and food has comforted you, and then you have that,
And oftentimes, I think me and Tony talked about this, is we don't even recognize that we're emotional eaters. We say, oh, we don't eat out of stress, or we don't eat out of sadness, or we don't eat out of boredom. We do, whether we recognize it or not. How many times have we caught ourselves mindlessly eating, watching TV, or looking at our phone? That's a mindless eating habit. Or being really stressed at work and turning to the break room and grabbing something. You're eating because you're stressed. So it's just recognizing in your mind of what emotion am I eating out of right now? Yeah. Am I just stressed? Do I need to go on a walk? Or do I need to call a friend and just pace a little bit and take my mind? Phone calls help wonderfully for distracting your mind as well. It's talking to someone else. But yeah.
What about if let me see how would you say this? Your self-esteem go up and you just say what's on your mind. You just, I mean, not like that. I mean, my husband aggravate me sometimes. I'm being for real. He breaks my nerves. He really do. And I just, is that normal? I mean, not in no bad way. Not in no bad way. I mean, like, he'll say, you need to eat more. You need to eat this. You need to eat that. I have my own refrigerator. He has his own refrigerator. My daughters gave it to him so I wouldn't have to go in his refrigerator because he keeps cookies and pies and potato chips and sodas and stuff like that. So my little refrigerator has just
Your stuff.
my stuff. And he'll go in there and he'll put stuff in my refrigerator. He got candy in there and I take it out and put it. I mean, chocolate and stuff like that. Like I got 2 canned sodas in there that's been in there for a year and a half because I haven't drunk a soda in a year and a half.
You go, girl.
So, I mean, and I notice now it's getting close to the holidays and I just go, just, you know, is that normal? You know,
I think you should bring him with you next time.
I asked him, did you want to come today?
Oh, I know.
My
That ain't got nothing to
aunt
do
would
with
say
food.
he can't help it.
You see that with all different kind of addictions or challenges,
Okay.
right? If someone's not being supportive for you and on your team,
Now, he
their
is
tension.
supportive, but he just wants you to eat what he eat. And he don't want you to eat, if you want 4 ounces, he wants you to eat 6 ounces. He wants you to eat just as much as he eat, and I'm full.
Can
Well,
you say to him, honey, I need to help you. I want to talk to you about what helps me. You know, this is like to be specific. I understand you're trying to love me. You're trying to love me with the food. You're trying to take care of me. But this is what helps me. When you say this, then I feel threatened and I feel like I'm going to put my hands around your neck. But help him to see really clear.
Even
When,
Dr. Antonelli
when,
even
when.
told him when we came for my doctor's appointment. He said, "Why is she not eating? Is she supposed to throw up?" And I never threw up until I ate a piece of candy and I threw up. But after that, I haven't threw up or anything. But he was like, "Don't you supposed to be eating more than that? She's gonna be nourished. She gonna be
What did Dr.
waste
Antonelli
away."
say? I don't
Oh
know.
Lord! He said it's all about her, VO board, or nothing. That's right. He's straightforward, and I love him to death. I love him to death.
And maybe it's just having a conversation of, I know you think you're being supportive, but this is what I need for support, and it's not tempting me, or whatever your boundary is. It's not tempting me by putting your stuff in my refrigerator. That's our boundary, right?
Yeah,
And being clear, and although you may have guilt, wife guilt of, oh gosh, was I too hard? Is he going to be like,
I go to the gym. I go to the gym 5 days a week.
You know, it's setting those clear boundaries and expectations so the lines don't get blurred.
I'm like with you, but I don't have a husband. It's one of my kids.
Okay.
He's 27 and loves Pizza Hut or Domino's, and he'll put it into our house. I'm like, boy, if you don't get that food away from me, he's like, do you want a slice? I'm like, no, you know I can't have that, so get it away from me. And he'll look at me and be like, go away.
Yeah, that's right.
Or he knows where he's going to be at. I'm good like with soda. I don't drink soda, candy, all that. But that pizza that he puts in that house,
it talks to you, right?
I'm like, if you don't get that away from me, and he'll buy the one I want. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I found
Like
myself
tempting
getting
me.
a little snappy with my daughters too, because my daughters, and it makes me, I'm like, golly, did I eat that much before? Because they'll look and they're like, Dad, are you sure you shouldn't be eating more food?
See, yeah. Because they see you before to eat that, they expect you to do it now, and I'm right with you.
And you just want to,
see?
you know.
You know? And I think people get scared though, because you have to remember, right?
Yeah.
Like when you ate a ton of food all the time, they talk to other people about you.
That's right.
Now, but it's socially acceptable for them to come after you if they feel like you're not eating enough. And so you're changing, right? Things about your life are changing, your mentality's changing, a lot is changing. So that means that they have to change, right? So you have this relationship, right? You do this dance with each other all the time, right? You interact the same ways all the time, over and over and over again. but then you change it, and they're uncomfortable. So if they're uncomfortable because you're changing the steps, right, to the dance, then they're going to try and push you back into maybe not even intentionally, because my kids were pretty little. I mean, early teens when I had my surgery. It was 6 months of horror. Like, they were terrible to me. And I don't think that it was because they didn't want to support me or they knew that I was doing better and that my health was getting better. It was because things were different, and they did not appreciate that. And I just think that's normal in anytime you make a change. I mean, think about someone in your life that changed something and how you felt about it. You feel insecure. You don't know where your place is. And so I do think you have to kind of lay it out there and then just hold it out. And once they learn the new steps, I think it gets better. At least it did for us,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Observation. I was thinking about some relationships, everybody's relationship with their family is different.
Yeah.
Word intimidation came to mind. They're intimidated by you're making changes. Where does that leave me?
Yeah, even if they don't realize it, I think it feels that
Some
way.
guilt,
Insecure.
maybe, that you're making changes in their mind. I mean,
Right.
there's a whole lot of factors that can come into that, I think.
Yeah.
So that's I like the changing the dance steps. They got to get used to it.
Yeah, I got that from a book, just so you know.
I like it.
You say it again?
Changing the
steps.
Yeah, in the dance, and so they have to relearn something too. They're like, well, it's fine when it's all good for you. You go ahead and do that and you make those changes, but when it affects the other person, then they become uncomfortable and try and push you back into
Absolutely.
Their comfort zone.
But another thing I've learned is you gotta do you though. It's time.
That's right.
Grocery stores aren't gonna change, restaurants aren't gonna change for you, nobody's gonna change for you. So they can do what they want, but I'm gonna do me now.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Comes down to going to the church before you pick yourself a piece of protein and
Yeah, because you can't expect everybody to conform to you, and you can't expect your family to do it either, unfortunately. It would be great if they did, but they're not.
That's right. That's a good point. Y'all all thank you so much for your participation, and please let me know if you need anything from us or me, and thank y'all so much. I think there's some good insight in this conversation tonight, so thank you.
So our next session is going to be on December 6th, and typically our December one is a holiday party. We usually have some food, some bariatric appropriate food, we have it catered, and we just do some games. It's a real socialization time. We don't always have like a real structured lecture, talking time, but you all can always, if you have ideas or if there's things you'd like to have addressed, please let us know. But please come next month, because we'll have a good time. Last year was a really fun time. We had some good games, and yeah, it was a great time. So look forward to that. So again, it's December 6th. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much.